Did you want waffles?
Good morning, everybody.
Ooh, it started cutting out.
At some
I was
point,
like, is
my
he going
mic was like,
further?
that's clearly background noise. He can't possibly be trying to make that sound. Good
Yeah.
morning. Welcome to Warlocks and Waffles. Junie,
Mm-hmm.
how was your week?
It was pretty decent. No complaints.
Cool.
There was one thing that I was like, ooh, I want to bring this up, and it's gone now because I'm focusing on the other things I have on the outline. I'm focusing on the thing that we were just talking about. We're doing a thing. I'm making Hunter do a thing.
Yeah, Junie has just written mephits 1,000 times on this outline.
It's gonna be so good. But yeah, there's there on our outline there's always like a news just in case there's like something that's big that's still relevant that we kind of talk about. And I got a notification that NASA published TTRPG, and I was like, huh? And I guess I just wanted to bring it up. It's called The Lost Adventure. And it's a dark mystery. And I don't know. I just thought it was kind of cool, and I wanted to bring that up. Ooh, what? We're planning on Oops All Mephits Adventure. Oh my god! Yes. Oh, we're doing.
Yes.
Rosie, thank you. Yes, we are doing that. That would be the best present ever. But yeah, I just wanted to share that because I wanted to see what's like, because they did it in a way where anybody could adapt it to any sort of you don't have to use it for D&D. It's just pretty generic, and they even gave you like maps and stuff.
Yeah,
and a poster,
I didn't.
So
I've seen a lot of people talking about it. I haven't actually like dug into it yet, but from what I've heard from people, it sounds weird and fun.
Yeah, designed for a party of 4 to 7, level 7 to 10 characters.
Fun.
So people that not exactly a beginner one shot, but it's still cool, and that invites you to take on a classic villain while also learning science skills.
Heck
which
yeah.
is something that do you know people who hate having like realistic things or science things thrown into their TTRPGs? Like they're very into high fantasy, and like they don't want you to mess with that.
I know that those people exist.
Okay.
I don't think I have any in my games. I have several like actual scientists in some of my games. And get more of the questions about like well, if that's how that is, how does this thing work? And it's like, I don't know. I didn't research. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. And we had the folks from Kill Every Monster on before, and one of them is a physicist. You know what I mean? I was just like, we know we know scientists, and we know people that can do both. I have had people voice displeasure when I introduced elements that were too what's the word? Secular? I don't know, but like too, not like leaving I guess break the immersion. So
A
if it was a
departure
character,
from
it's
like
like
the fantasy genre.
correct. So even if it was
Yeah.
like it's an orc, a merchant's assistant, but I made him sound like this.
Mhm.
Like he didn't like that type of thing, So it's just like, oh, you're giving him like this type of voice. I was like, okay, he didn't even say anything that was like, oh yeah, I'm going to a Costco later. Like, like no.
My players went to a dry cleaner in a volcano last night, so like
Yeah.
my parties clearly don't really have a problem with
My
departures from the fantasy genre.
I mentioned this to you in the chat when it happened, but then I forgot to tell you one thing about it. I did a library game, and if there's ever a small enough group, because it like the month before it had like 12 plus kids,
Mhm.
but this one had like 5 or 6. So I was like, okay, I can do this. I like to have a nonsense adventure where I take them to a mythical, like they get trickster god,
Yeah,
taken somewhere
the
to put on a
hospital.
show. Yeah, and then there's a sign that says San Francisco General. But what I didn't tell you about that was somebody from the newspaper was there, and what they walked in on was me taking my puppet, my wizard puppet, and laying it on the table, and then like them talking about defibrillator, like whatever the puppet,
Yeah.
and then also somebody else talking about delivering a manatee's baby. Like so the reporter got me standing up and just like going like doing all that. So and then so, we're always like, oh, they're in San Francisco right now, and
Mhm.
then further complicating and confusing everything.
Yeah.
Like it's just like
Yeah.
what?
Home
What?
of dying puppets and pregnant manatees.
Yes.
Um, have you ever seen the movie Tag?
No.
It's a movie where like it's focused on a group of adult friends who have played the same game of tag
Oh,
for
okay.
like
I thought it was called something
since
else.
they
I
were
think I know what
kids.
you're talking about. Yeah, 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 yeah.
But one of the characters in it is a reporter who is like in an interview with one of the people when one of the other friends who like is it shows up to tag them. And like the game of tag takes place like in this interview. He's like, no, I'm busy. Like I can't do this right now. And like a game of tag takes place, and then he like has to describe what the game is to the reporter, and they're just like, there's a story here, and then they just start kind of following the them playing tag. And that's immediately what I think of when you were like, there was a reporter and they showed up and I was defibrillating a puppet. um just the reporter being like, a scoop.
Speaking of scoop hunter, you know what you put a scoop of stuff on sometimes? Pie. And that's the best segue I can think of to go into what we are going to be talking about today, which is what happened yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Yesterday was Pi Day. Yesterday was 3.14's Math Pi Day.
Yeah.
And we
But we didn't do a show yesterday, so
we
we're
didn't we
talking
didn't do a
about
show
it
yesterday.
today because it's our show and there's no rules.
There's literally no rules. It's all held together by like dollar store brand duct tape.
Yes. Which
So
is just, but it's just called duct tape.
It's spelled wrong, but you have to guess how wrong it's spelled. We didn't give each other rules, and we just said we're gonna pitch each other
here's the
pie
thing,
adventures,
y'all.
right?
I need everyone listening to this to understand that this was on Monday. We're like, we ran way long on Monday because we had fun on the topic we were on, but we ran way over our regular time. And so we were like at the end of the episode, like closing out the episode. And I was like, hey, Pie Day's on Thursday. You want to talk about like pie adventures on Friday? And Junie was like, yeah. And then we didn't talk about it again until last night when Junie was like, what are we doing? And I was like, pie adventures question mark. And he was like, okay. And then we still didn't clarify what that meant.
I did in my brain, and I did the thing where I responded to you and like had a back and forth with you, but that wasn't reality, and you weren't a part of that.
Junie pretends to have Junie role
Yeah.
plays having conversations with me, but
Yeah,
he's
it's
the only one
not
playing.
it's not healthy, and it is hurting all of my interpersonal relationships. Now, I have a weird structure in my brain. One of those things that I said in my brain that sounded funnier than in reality, and it sounded more depressing. What we call a Junie
It
special.
took me
It's
a
it's a
beat, and then it kind
it's
of like settled
yeah.
as like what you had said. I was like,
That's a
what the heck?
that's what we in the business call a Junie special. Something sounds funnier on paper, and when you say it out loud, you're like, "Aw, aw." Anyway, so I know we had tackled this very differently. I kind of want you to go first. Um, but if you are not ready or you don't want to, I will not force you to. What what do you want to do?
I mean, I'm happy to go first. You want me to go
Yeah,
first?
go for it.
So
Yeah.
just to kind of like set expectations here.
Hmm.
The way I interpreted the prompt that we are running with today is we are pitching each other pie themed adventures.
Hmm.
But there was no
That's a
additional clarifications on anything.
correct.
Okay.
Well, I will say what Junie heard, and you are correct. It was pie themed adventures in writing, and I believe what was said out loud. And I just heard pie adventures. And I'll tell you how that drastically changed everything when I go. But go ahead. I just want to know that
Junie,
you interpret
sometimes
it.
you say things
Mm-hmm.
and it instantly worries me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready. Okay. I'll go first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very upset because literally the first one on my list is called Pirates. And Davy Jones for the last like 10 minutes has been yelling in the chat, "The pie sees! The pie sees Hunter! The pie sees!" And I'm like, yeah, stop. I know. It's literally the first one on my list. Pirates. They are you are serving on a ship of pirates. They are pirates, but they like exclusively deal in pies. They storm, like they sail into a port, they raid the port, but they don't like do any damage or cause any harm or anything. They're just there to take all of the pies you have. And so then there are like towns that are creating like a whole bunch of extra pies so that they can like just have those ready to go for the pirates when they sail into town and give all the pies to the pirates. But here's where the adventure takes place.
Ooh.
Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
The adventurers have arrived in town to find it in a panic. It's a small little port town. They arrive in town to find it absolutely in a panic. Like people are running around, people are screaming, like people are packing up, trying to leave. And the reason is their shipment that was supposed to bring them all the ingredients to make the pies that they were going to need was captured by bandits. And so they can't make any pies. And the pirates will be here in 2 days. And if they don't have the pies, the pirates will destroy their town. And so the adventurers have to go to the bandits, get all those materials, bring them back, help the town make the pies, and then give them to the pirates.
I like this.
Quest.
I like this.
It's loosely inspired by an episode of SpongeBob. I say very loosely inspired. An episode of SpongeBob where Squidward has to give SpongeBob a gift And he goes outside, and there's like a pirate ship, and they're loading a bag of pies onto the ship. And the Squidward goes up to him, and he's like, "Are these pies homemade?" And he's like, "Oh, they're not homemade. They're made in a factory, a bomb factory.
Oh, yeah.
These are
Okay.
bombs."
Yes, I remember that. Okay, I do remember this. Okay.
But I just loved
I was
the
like, weren't they
concept.
bombs?
Yeah, they're
Mhm.
bombs. He feeds it, and he feeds it to SpongeBob.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man. Anyway, yeah, pirates.
Okay. So, here's something that I didn't tell you, but I put on the outline, so it's your fault. I put we were each going to pitch one, right? I put rules, and by starting the episode, you agreed to the terms and conditions. So I said we were each going
Oh
to pitch one,
no.
and then I wrote each of us are going to rate the adventure's taste according to our own specific scales. So I'm going to rate your adventure based off of my own very specific thing. Okay, so I rate that at least 2 forks, but they're not fully forks. They're actually like converted. What do you call like a pirate sword? It's
Cutlass.
a cutlass. Yeah, they're like cutlasses that have been turned into some more like sporks.
Okay.
2 cutlass sporks that are sharp enough to cut into a pie to serve and eat, but not curt enough to maim yourself.
Okay. Got
There
it.
we go. Yeah. Like
Thanks for the
that's
follow.
positive. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Rosie in the chat said, "Gotta read the fine print, Hunter. The show's called Warlocks and Waffles. Do you think I've ever read the fine print on anything?
Yeah,
I
that's
have
how we ended
people
up
for
in
that.
syrup.
It's
Yeah.
supposed to be Junie.
And it doesn't help when I'm also writing.
Betrayal.
I'm writing it and reading it.
Okay,
yeah, no, it's very good.
So
it's very
the rules that you have
2 spoon
outlined
cutlass.
is
Yeah,
that
2
we're-
spoon cutlasses that are sharp enough to cut into everything but not hurt you,
Got
and
it.
allow you to eat as much of this delicious pie as you can. This sounds really good. It sounds like a fun one shot.
I mean, you can't hold more than 2, so like I assume that's the highest possible rating.
Yeah. And what's cool is when you do, like, you did Bandits, right? And you don't watch One Piece, but there is a big thing in there. It's pirates. It's, you know, you think, okay, it's going to be like ocean theme and stuff like that. But then there was like a part where there was like just like bandits one time. They were like mountain bandits. And that bandit tried to go into the water and just was like on a teeny boat, and he's not a pirate, so he's sucked out there. So depending on if the pirates, the group is pirates, or if they're from the land, so like how they interact with it, I just see a lot of options. You know what I mean? So if it's like, what if the land bandits stole all the pie making supplies to make something else that uses all the same ingredients as pies? I just see a lot of fun hooks that like somebody could take. So I guess this sounds delicious. This sounds like a delicious adventure you have here.
It's the pirates and the band cakes.
Ooh,
yeah.
Oh, that's good.
We could probably make a playlist on YouTube of like Warlocks and Waffles, but only the episodes where Junie doesn't talk about anime at any point during the episode, and it would have no episodes in it.
My God, look, I'm sorry. I'm trying.
It's
to
a
do
new.
better.
It's a new game, everybody. Every time Junie mentions anime, drink water, hydrate yourselves.
Great, fantastic, whatever. My turn.
Yeah,
So,
go for it.
I heard Pi Day, and I just thought of the mathematical equation, the
Of course,
3 point. So I thought of a formula, but I still knew you were talking about pies. So I was like, I need a structure. So each adventure that I have has a crust, it has some sort of filling, and something on top, because I figured that is technically what a pie is. So
what about all the pies that don't have a top layer? Is pumpkin pie not a pie?
It's got more pumpkins on it. It's like, you know, layered pumpkin. I'm sure it's if you
top,
have like just one
layer.
Yeah, whatever.
The top layer of a pumpkin pie is whipped cream.
Okay, so the first one I have is called store bought surprise, right? But store is written in parentheses
Uh-huh.
because this is one of those adventures where it is kind of more for you. It's kind of more for like the GM, and I say use with caution. Don't lose all your friends over this, but you might have friends that are
It's
into
just
being
good
punished and
advice.
used to your shenanigans.
Mhm.
So this is on the surface level, it's going to look like a generic pre-baked adventure. It's going to look like a module. It's going to look like it's in the plastic, like it's got like the labels from the store and everything. Uh, but what they don't know is you have baked a bunch of nonsense into this pie, right?
Mhm.
It's going to be something where they cut into it and they're going to get some smells. They're going to get some smells where they're not going to, you see, because once again, you wrote a pie themed adventure. I wrote vibes. I wrote pie vibe adventures where it's like it's designed all in layers
Uh-huh.
to how to surprise somebody. So this is, you give them a what appears to be a cookie cutter high fantasy basic adventure, but you bake in there things that you describe after the fact, after they've taken that bite. So you're gonna sneak in something spicy in there. They're gonna take a bite and they're gonna be like, oh, is that cayenne? And that's when you're gonna realize that the king they just had this entire conversation with is wearing like some real tight leather after the fact.
Mhm.
It's going to be most people are wearing heels and fishnets. This is where after the fact you go through that you're going to just start revealing little bits of things after the fact that they've already interacted with it, and now they have to re-flavor everything because they were,
Mhm.
when you see one thing and you put it in your mouth and you go, oh, that's not what I thought, like type of thing.
Mhm.
Or if you think you're drinking milk and you drink orange juice, you're like, wait, what's happening? uh you're
Happens
gonna
all the
have to
time.
have yes you're gonna have to have two descriptions for everything. So this is more of a methodology or how you're gonna tackle whatever adventure it is. But you're gonna read whatever sort of basic cookie cutter one shot. So this is, you could choose your own flavor on this one, and then think about how could I describe this wrong, or how can I describe this just out of left field, and just always do that second. Do the generic first part, and then after the fact, do the bait and switch. Uh, it doesn't have to be sexy like I'm making it, but I am pitching this very very like just a twisted tail type of situation of
Mhm.
whatever you're going to do, pick something and make a game of it for yourself on how can I modify each thing that I'm encountering inside this adventure to be a little and then find a way that to describe it on the surface level like it's supposed to be intended, and then after it's interacted with, they get the depth of flavor and they get
Yeah.
the extra thing. So that's it. You see, I knew that we were going to tackle this completely different,
Yeah.
but mine is more of a challenge or a way to construct an adventure. So what do you think of that?
I like that. Did you explain
That's
what
Hunters, huh?
store-bought surprise is?
You essentially are going to make it look like it is just a. I'm running Dragons of Icespire Peak. You make it seem like it is
Okay,
just a
got it, got it, got it. Okay.
generic whatever. It is like they
I
think they're just getting a store bought pie.
I I understand
You know what?
the
I should have. Yeah.
I
You know what? Here. I'll change.
in
I'll
in
change the
my
parentheses, the quotes.
head you were like, mine is called store-bought surprise. And store is in quotes. And then you were like,
I changed it.
here's
Yeah.
the structure of what a pie is. And then like started talking about that and it all bled together in my brain.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I was gonna pitch the structure for both of us, but then I was like, wait, we tackled it completely different.
Yeah.
So I'm the only one that needs to worry about like it's gonna be the basic high fantasy setting, the feelings the wonky part, and then the
Got it.
top part for me also masks the wonkiness. So
Yeah.
that's how my structure is for this one.
Got it. I rate this. I like
I
the
thought you already rated it with I like it, and I was like, that's Hunter's intricate scale.
Yeah, my intricate scale is yeah, sure, it's good.
Cool. I like it.
I like the concept of I'm always a fan of here's a module that is not the module anymore. Like my favorite versions of modules are the ones that are no longer really that module. My rating scale for this one, and I will not elaborate, is that's rhubarb.
Okay. Oh, well, here's what I'm pitching though. Whenever we like do modules, it becomes your own thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The challenge is to make it still look like it's going to be the same thing.
Right. It has to at the surface.
Yeah.
Seem like it's seem like it is correct.
So if they've played something before, it's like, oh yeah, this is Strahd, this is this, and it's like, I'm gonna actually for the first time actually redeem hydrate with water instead of coffee. I haven't been drinking a lot of water.
Water's
all right,
important.
So go ahead.
Okay. The players wake up, or well, not the players, the characters. The party wakes up on a boat in the middle of the ocean. They have to try and get to safety. I'm just realizing now that my first two are both boats.
I was about to say, it's like, did you just do pirates again?
No. They are on a boat in the middle of the ocean. They like not like a ship, like a lifeboat. Stranded in the middle of the ocean. They have to get to safety. Also there's a tiger. Life of Pi.
Okay.
Adventure.
Okay.
Sad Judy noises.
I'm just making sure I understand everything correctly.
The party is stranded in a lifeboat. They have to get to safety. You can have they're trying to get home. You can have all sorts of adventures on the way.
May I ask for elaboration or
they encounter things in the water. They can find themselves on strange islands. They can meet strange people. And also there is a tiger on the boat.
So if I may, is the tiger just a normal tiger, or is there anything more to the tiger? Sentient, a rakshasa,
regular ass tiger.
It is
just a regular tiger. It is also on the boat.
Okay.
They're welcome to do like speak with animals and stuff like that if they want to. They can talk to the tiger. The tiger's happy to like work with them, but it is just a regular tiger.
It's a challenge rating 1, so they could, because I'm thinking of like, would they just die instantly? Would a party immediately just be like, you spawn, you're like, you wake up, you're on thing, there's a tiger, it's hungry, there's nothing else other than you, fight, and then it's just
the campaign becomes a one-shot, Junie.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to make sure.
Rosie said, "Have you ever read Life of Pi?" And to that I say, no. But in my defense, the movie was on once while I was in the room and doing other things. I don't know anything about it other than that they're on a boat and there's a tiger there. I think there's a zebra at one point that is also on the boat. I think they're on. Okay, this is gonna be bad. My 10-second understanding of the movie Life of Pi based on the book Life of Pi. I think they're on a ship with a lot of animals, and then the ship, like there's a storm or they shipwreck or something, and then the guy is on the boat, and then like a bunch of animals all are in the water drowning, and he like helps some of them get onto the boat. And one of those animals is a tiger. And I think the tiger eats the zebra at one point. And then at one point they're on an island that glows. That's all I remember. And it could be wrong. It's probably been a decade. Anyway. Moving right along.
I'm reading the Spark Notes real quick because I also have not read or watched Life of Pi.
Perfect.
There's an orangutan and a hyena involved in this.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
How close was I?
I mean, closer than me. I would have been able to tell you 0 other than boy on boat with tiger. So
Yeah.
you knew 200% more than I knew.
Perfect.
I rate this one
poorly.
No. I rate this one like with a plate that is as big as a tiger's like paw, so like it needs to be like a sizable chunk, and for and you're using and one curved tiger claw, like the talon, the nail itself, and that's what you have to eat it with. So you have to be careful because you could just stab your mouth
yourself.
immediately and it be over right away, and it still needs to be like a sizable slice on there. I rate it a careful but sizable chunk of good.
A careful but sizable chunk. That is a good stripper name. Anyway. It's a weird energy this morning, y'all. Okay, cool. Also, I'll say this because I know that nobody from my Thursday group is going to listen to this episode. That's the group that is doing the like quantum leap, like jumping through time and into different bodies and stuff. That group at some point is absolutely going to find themselves all like jumping into the bodies of a group that is stranded in a lifeboat, and also there's a tiger. Because why wouldn't I? That's gonna be very stupid, and I'm excited for it. Also, just to derail us further, but because I'm thinking about it, that group played last night, and they had just finished like their first like official jump. So they had like jumped into this one timeline, they had done some stuff, and then they like had killed a couple of guys that are like they've met in the future, but they killed them in the past. And so they jumped. And so I had them like roll their new stuff, figure out where they're gonna land. And as they did that, I let them know, I was like, okay, so you're going to be this, you're going to be this, like going through and doing it all. And I'm like, and you guys as a group have picked up 3 levels of paradox. And they were like, what does that mean? Is paradox good? Is that something we're trying to achieve, or is that bad and we should be avoiding it? How did we get these 3 levels? What is going on? And I will not elaborate on it. And I'm very excited for them to continue to try and figure out if they should be trying to get levels of paradox, if they should be trying to avoid them. It's very entertaining.
I think you did something both better and worse with that, because my immediate suggestion was like, well, why did you tell them what
because
it was called?
I want them to know.
Yeah, because my suggestion wouldn't have made it better. I didn't have a suggestion to make it better. My suggestion would have been like, well, why didn't you just tell them, I need everybody to mark down 3 levels of what? It's like, oh, just mark down something. And they would have still freaked out as much, because it's like an unknown thing. But because you told them what it's called, it's a different type of like freaking out. So it's very interesting, like, because telling them opens up a whole different can of worms, and it's interesting. I like that.
Well, I want the players to have to try and figure out if they're trying to do it or trying to avoid it. I believe it's your pitch.
Yeah. I didn't eat a lot of pies growing up.
Mhm.
As part, it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then when I got older, I discovered my favorite type of pie are like savory, like pot pies.
Sure.
Like I just prefer to do
Yeah,
that.
like a chicken pot pie.
Yeah. I have essentially am pitching like a pot pie adventure where you have to either get a group together that you've already completed an adventure with, either
Mhm.
a one shot or a campaign, or for funsies, Google an adventure you know that something's already completed, and then do a generic crust again,
Mhm.
where you are just getting like a basic setting where you don't have to think too much about, but then you plop already used in characters in there. You are not coming in with anything fresh. You are not coming in with like anything. You just come in with already seasoned adventures. You are
Okay.
going in there with things you have already used in a fresh new setting, uh, or ones that have been retired already, and you're just like, we completed that campaign, or we already did that, whatever, and you were positive you weren't going to see that guy again. And what I am saying is, do it in a way where you're doing a fresh new setting, but with old characters. So you put them in a setting where they would have not have found themselves beforehand.
Mhm.
This is where you get the fun part where you can go like, oh, we did a Icewind Dale type of campaign already. Take those characters. You're going to send them to just do an Avernus one shot. You're going to do a Spelljammer campaign, like a
Nice.
Spelljammer one shot. You're going to go something where you're just taking all this fill in that was already done, but you're
Right.
going to reinvent it so that way you're going to elevate the characters. Um,
You're gonna take the stuff and then put it in there with other stuff and like mix it all
correct.
together.
Yeah. Uh, and then you're going to bake it all in there with something that's just not the original casing, not the original whatever. Uh, you wanna like seal it though, because
Mhm.
you don't want to take away, unless you were trying to do a full new campaign. You
Mhm.
don't want to take away from what's already made these guys great.
Right. You need a way to
So
connect
you
it.
correct. So this is one of those things where it doesn't necessarily, this could be that character's final whatever now,
Mhm.
but something where it's like, this is just another cool, great, whatever thing, and
Right.
not this replaces,
Right.
and overshadows it.
It's not a new game and everything with like
Mm-hmm.
characters that you are familiar with kind of like set there to as like a new
Mm-hmm.
take. It's not a reboot is essentially it. It's not a reboot, it's
Correct.
a like a sequel.
And because I'm pitching like a weird potluck type of pot pie. It doesn't all have to be characters from the same campaign or
Yeah.
anything like that. So if everybody just goes, it's like, hey, everybody, I want to do a one shot. Just pick a character you've used before that you
Mhm.
liked,
Mhm.
and then everybody comes in with their favorite character they've ever played.
Mhm.
And then it's like they get to like, oh, I get to use this person and again, or just in a way that they never got to do stuff before, and then you're gonna get some fun dynamics.
Yeah. I
Generic pre-baked crust is one of my favorite things because you don't have to think so much about that. You get
Sure.
to let
Yeah.
whatever is on the inside and how you do it
Store
shine.
bought is pretty good.
Correct. And it doesn't mean that it just has to be, oh, this is the same old whatever.
Mhm.
No, you can make anything shine. And I've been watching a lot of Next Level Chef. You can really elevate anything as long as you go about it the right way and you have like that one hint of lemon or something. So
Mhm.
I'm a pitching a potluck pot pie where everybody's bringing in everything they've
Yeah.
already done in a generic pre-made crust with a little hint of lemon.
Hmm.
Just a
Interesting.
little twist, enough to like, once again,
Throw it off a little bit.
correct.
I
Not
like that.
necessarily make it sexy this time, but just enough because you're already you don't want, this one's not about curveballing the
Right.
players. Like the first one is like you are trying to like make everybody laugh or throw them off balance with my
Mhm.
first one. This one is, you want to let them essentially you're letting them drive their favorite car on a racetrack so they can actually like really let loose.
Mm-hmm.
So you're letting the ingredients soar, and you're just giving them a really fun open play field where they can do stuff and shine.
Yeah.
So
I like this a
that's what I'm missing.
lot, especially in connection to like uh Rosie had like tossed out an idea in our group chat earlier this week that kind of is along a similar path of like past characters. Um and I love the idea of returning to characters that you love, that you wouldn't like their game ended. So you don't necessarily have uh a chance to go back to those characters all the time. Like I have a couple of characters that I have been very very thankful to be able to like bring to like different one shots and stuff like that since the campaign ended. Because I loved those characters and would love to continue playing them. Okay. I am ready for mine. Are you?
How would you rate? How would you rate
Oh,
the
I am so sorry.
just another? I like it.
I
I mean,
like it.
that's fine. I'm not. I'm not.
No,
I'm not against it.
I rate this one a I rate this one a pumpkin pie, but it has a scoop of what you originally assumed to be vanilla ice cream on it, but it actually has like some nutmeg and cinnamon in it as well. So like the ice cream almost like has similar flavors of the pumpkin pie to it and like pulls it all together. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. I call this one. Actually, no, I'll give you the pitch and then I'll tell you what I'm calling it. The party has a an event that they have to go to. This is very low level. They're like nobodies at this point. They're just like commoners. They have an event that they have to go to. It's like a birthday party or something like that for like somebody that they're close to. So they go to the bakery. They pick up this beautiful like custom pie to bring to this event. And while they're on their way back to their house with this pie, they stumble across a murder. And while that murder is happening, they see the murder happening, they like drop the pie in fright and like run away, right? um they realize the next morning that their like all of their information is on the box that the pie came in. So like they've left evidence of themselves being at this murder scene. And so then like that's the only evidence. The murderer didn't leave anything, so now the like guards are looking for this party, so they have to go on the run to try and like stop the murderer and like bring them to justice to clear their own name. I call this
Interesting.
Apple Pie Express.
Apple Pie Express.
Yes.
Now, is there a train involved?
Yes, at some point they're on a train for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where
Uh,
they're on a train where they find out that the murderer is also making illegal pies on this train.
okay. I'm going to let you in on a little secret here.
Hmm.
There is a genre. I'm not
Hmm.
talking about like a series,
Uh-huh.
a genre of mystery novels that are all baked good themed.
Amazing.
They're all murders. Now let me see if uh 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 murder books. But they all have titles that would be uh good for this, which is so funny. Oh god, this yeah. Uh Cream Puff Murder, Candy Cane Murder. No, 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 these are generic. There's one that's like it's like like murder a la mode. Like there
Okay.
there are a lot
Yeah, yeah,
of
yeah.
like these are all just like literally, oh, chocolate chip murder. Uh, it's gonna kill me now that I don't see this, because I would always laugh at all of these because they were always ludicrous. Um, but anyway, it's so funny that it's the Apple Pie Express, because then it's like, wait, what's going on? And if there was a name, if I knew another baking term, I think it would really fit right there real good. And I don't know the convention, and it's so good because you accidentally described the perfect cozy murder baked good misery. If I'd have pitched what you just said at the library I worked at, people would be down for it.
People
Like,
would also probably say you've just described the plot of Pineapple Express.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, that's even funnier. Oh, there was weed in the pie. It was a special pie the whole time. They were just gonna, oh my God. Oh, that's so good.
It's just the Apple Pie Express instead of the Pineapple Express.
Oh man.
I was very subtle. I'm not surprised you didn't pick up on it. I'm a master storyteller.
I know I've seen that movie, but I don't recall anything of it now.
Yeah. I absolutely just thought of like Pineapple Express, and originally it was just going to be Pie-Apple Express, and then I was like, oh wait, it can just be Apple Pie Express. But I absolutely had to Google the movie to pull up the like
James
the main
Franco
plot.
has since been canceled, so I guess I just wiped that whole movie from my memories, and I don't remember anything.
James Franco's
how that
always been
works.
a little weird. Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of those movies where I'm like, I know a lot of people like it. It's never been like one that I really enjoyed. My brothers and I, we have a lot of family up in Michigan, and so we would do like road trips from like where we lived in Pennsylvania up to Michigan, but it's like a 9-hour drive. And my dad really likes driving really early in the morning. So anytime we would like go on these trips, we would leave at like 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. But we would be leaving our house so that we're getting to like my grandma's house at like the early afternoon. And so at some point while like I was in high school, my brothers and I realized that like if we go to bed, then we're like getting up really early in the morning, and then like sitting in a car and having a hard time like falling back asleep in the car. So then we're just like in the car for 9 hours, and it's just like a really long drive. Or we could just not go to bed and just stay up, and then as soon as we get in the car, pass out and just be asleep for the majority of the drive. And so my brothers and I would just stay up watching like movies that my parents hated, and a lot of those ended up just being like Will Ferrell and Seth Rogen movies. So like Pineapple Express, Step Brothers, stuff like that.
That's so fantastic. That's good. I immediately thinking of staying up watching movies. I think of my only. You've stayed up. That's a positive memory you have of staying up and watching movies, right? And mine are either same positive or like neutral. Oh, maybe I watched a half asleep or something. But for some reason, if I ever think of a late night movie, I think of the only one that was negative, and it's Lord of the Rings. I don't think this is a micro tangent because did I tell you about my Lord of the Rings thing?
I don't think
so. All right, this is gonna cause people to not like me. I didn't watch the other 2 Lord of the Rings movies. I didn't watch any of the other Lord of the Rings movies.
Oh, really?
Right? Because when I was young,
just Fellowship of the Ring.
Yes.
Okay.
Now I need everybody to remember I was whatever old I was in. I was in middle school, I guess, when Lord of the Rings came out. I did not, because my family wasn't a book family. I didn't know it was a series. Okay. I didn't know about The Hobbit. Sure. Didn't know about Lord of the Rings, anything like that. Right. So didn't know anything about that. Then I just heard hype. And we watched it, rented it from Blockbuster or whatever it was. And I stayed up late to watch it. I was very tired. There's a lot of walking. I was young.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, stay up to finish this movie to understand what the hype is about.
Right.
It better have a great ending.
And then it's 3 parts.
And then it ends with, let's go, Sam. And they walk down a hill and the credits roll.
Yeah.
Which is one of my top 2 least favorite endings, right alongside the second Twilight movie where Edward goes, marry me, and Bella goes, and then the credits roll, and like just like, wait, what? And the only 2 endings in my life that made me go, wait, is that it? And it starts going, and I said, screw this movie. And I got mad. And when the second Lord of the Rings movie came out, I said, fuck that.
The second one's my favorite.
It's a lot of people's, and a lot of people really like the whole dang thing. And I out of spite, have just never watched Lord of the Rings because I couldn't get over how mad I was after the first one, and it just never happened.
Yeah. I love the Lord of the Rings. I don't have as much knowledge of Lord of the Rings as I would like to have. It's one of those things where like I
Pop
was
culture and osmosis like knowledge, because that's how I have it.
You know how bards have the like the thing where like they get half proficiency in a lot of stuff.
Yep.
I feel like that's how I am with a lot of like nerd stuff of like I know enough to have a conversation about it with anybody.
Correct.
But like people will start going off on the like the lore of like, oh yeah, well, you know, this thing happened in this year and this thing happened like, and so begat so and start listing off the lineages and all of that. And I'm like, that's incredibly impressive. I wish I had all of that information just like available in my head, but like I don't remember most things that I read unless it like makes an impression on me. Somebody recently I forget what it was. Somebody recently on TikTok was talking about like how they keep seeing like Lord of the Rings stuff talking about Tom Bombadil, who is a character in the books, but like isn't really a thing in the movies. And I sat there for a very long time trying to come to terms with the fact that there was a character in Lord of the Rings that is a big deal and I have no memory of. I have no like recollection of this. And I think what it is like I read the book. Like I say book because my volume was like all the books in one book. I read the books in probably freshman or sophomore year of high school. So it's been a bit. I should go back and reread them because I do love the world so much. We should
I only
do
know
we should
about
do a
Tom
marathon.
Bombadil because my old boss mentioned that character a lot, and she was like a from the books.
Oh,
big
I
fan.
did after realizing there was a character I didn't know anything about. I did a deep dive on them, and it was very fun. They are a chaos character. I love it. It's shocking that they're a character that didn't stick in my brain because they're absolutely the sort of character I love. We should absolutely do a Lord of the Rings marathon. Yeah, Rosie would absolutely be in. We should just find a time and make that happen. Okay.
Okay.
You are up, I believe.
Okay. Mine is another GM intensive one. This one's called a deep dish. Because it involves the whole argument of like pizza, so not like essentially like a pizza crust, essentially where it's like a pizza that's just deep. I'm imagining like borderline cake levels of layers here, where you at each whatever you make as like a climax or like a pivotal story thing, you wang jangle in one more story. So you essentially have to write 3 micro one shots something that can be accomplished very quickly, and just as the party is going like, oh, we did it. Oh, all we had to do was get this guy's cow and we did it, and just really hammer home how it's like, oh, that's it. You did it, and make end of session vibes.
Mhm.
That's when you spring up somebody coming out of left field and you spring that next adventure in. And after the first one, if you make them small enough,
Yeah.
if you can make them small enough, they won't know when they will be done, which is kind of
Right.
funny.
Yeah.
But two,
I love
if you,
I love a good cliffhanger.
yeah, it's kind of like when we did the suggestion box the other day,
Mhm.
where it's like they were all loose things, but if you looked through the,
Mhm.
like, if you really thought about it, there was like a through line.
Yeah.
You could make a story that is like, oh, this is the underlying story, but you make a lot of seemingly unrelated uh micro adventures.
Mhm.
But it's one of those, they will not see the bigger thing until the end.
Yeah.
This is, you can use because this is how I like doing this, recycle things you used before or use pre-written stuff, but just use very small elements of other things, or just the endings of a lot of things. So like, don't like lead with the whatever, I mean,
Yeah.
lead with like the beginning story hook. Like, just make it so they're just completing the final little thing of it. Somebody else has already done all the other stuff. And then hit them with, oh wait, or look now, there's a dragon, or oh, there's this. And it's like, oh, we beat the dragon. Yeah, God, that's finally it. The dragon was pregnant and it has
Mid
Cthulhu
combat,
in
the
it.
monster goes into labor, and you now have to deliver a monster baby mid combat.
Yeah, do they raise it? Do they not?
Oh man, the
And
concept of a party being like mid combat, and then the the monster just being like, my water broke, and then they're like having to deliver a baby is very funny to me.
But it's I'm just pitching a very deep adventure where the if you if you want to be mean,
Mhm.
just, that there's no layers, and you just make it that the, like, no limit, and then you just make it whatever, this is where they end at.
Mhm.
I think it is better to at least ballpark an outline
Mhm.
that you can somehow put a through all of the things, and then just put them all in there. So if you know how much time you're going to have, give yourself like almost that, like, they got to do this within X amount of time, and if they don't, you shoehorn in the next flavor, because
Mhm.
sometimes you're not finished with one thing before you get to the next thing. So
Mhm.
if they don't finish that other one, that don't matter. Make the next thing more important.
Yeah.
So they will end potentially never having found that third gem
Mhm.
to free that villager's soul from that statue. That
Yeah.
doesn't matter, because the entire town was going to get stomped on by a giant.
Mhm.
So there wouldn't have been no statue. Okay. But then that giant had a contract that was with a Taras that was going to eat everything. A Taras contract, you know what I mean?
You just keep
So they
going
had to go.
up the ladder.
Yes, yeah.
That's awesome.
And the Trask only did that because he owed a god,
Right.
like, 2 worlds. So you got to like bargain with a
I
god.
it that's very entertaining to me as a level progression. Like if you're doing like milestone leveling, if you were like, I want to
No,
do a
you don't.
campaign
No,
that
they have to stay whatever level they are the entire time. You don't change. The
that's
food
fun
changes.
too. But imagine it being a milestone leveling campaign where you're like, I wanna do like a short campaign, but in that campaign I want to go from level 1 to 20. And
Mm.
it's just each time they complete a mission, they level up, but then they're like each one is just
Is
progressively
exponentially
more
harder. Yeah.
intense for no
Mm-hmm.
reason. And so then at the end you're like, God has come down and is like, you've meddled too much, and is gonna like smite you, and you have to fight God. Like it
But they would
it'd be
treat
great.
it was funny because if you're using the end of something, the god would come in as if like, you've meddled in my affairs for far too long, and it's like, yo, we just found out about you like 30 seconds ago, man. We have not been meddling in anything that we didn't even know about you. What are you talking about? It's like, for years you have been in my way. It's like, hold on, what's happening here? What, why, huh? And they're just gonna defeat the, like, did we do it? Did we finally? I don't know anymore. What's happening? Um
I
yeah.
really enjoy a plot twist. It's like a plot twist where it's like, oh, it's not over yet. That's really fun to me. Also, something that you said kind of like inspired me is the you said it's just like the endings of missions.
Yes.
I ran a one shot once where it started with the party like essentially being hired as just delivery people, and it was
Mm-hmm.
the heroes had gone out and slain the bad guy and like brought his sword back to their employer, and the employer was like shipping it off to the king as like a present. And so he had hired like a courier company, and so they were literally just the male people delivering like the sword from point A to point B. And they were on the way and they got like ambushed, and then they had like the sword got taken, and I stressed up front that their like courier company that they work for takes like the reliability of deliveries very seriously. Like, you cannot allow this sword to not be delivered. And so the whole one shot became like, we have to go retrieve the sword, and then like they're nobodies going off to like stop the end of the world type thing. Um, I love I love an adventure that is you're not the hero, but like you
But you got
have
to
to
do a
be.
thing. You got to do a thing.
Um, Fantastic. I give that a family member who you've never seen cook anything bringing a homemade blueberry pie to a function, and you're like, this is either going to be horrible or fantastic. There is no middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this has the potential to be
Yeah,
awesome.
I feel you. I feel
It
you.
has
I
the
completely
potential
understand.
to
Yeah.
be like the most regretted thing I've eaten at Christmas.
Mm. Okay. I like that. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Uh
Yeah. I think we did it. I
I
think
think
we've.
so.
I think we baked this pie. I think we baked this episode. I think it's. I used a toothpick. It is done. I checked the internal temperature. It is 365 degrees. Entirely too hot to eat.
Yeah, that's
That
way
isn't how
too
that
hot for a
works.
pie.
That is not how that works. Didn't think about it. I
I
think I thought about what temperature to bake it at and
Yeah.
not like what internal temperature should be.
I
But
made a
that just
pie.
means
It
we're that
is
hot.
lava now.
We made a hot episode right here.
Yeah.
So dangerous. Don't need it. Means don't use any of our ideas. We did this for nothing. We were too good. We did our jobs too good.
These
And we made an
adventures
episode
are
too
not
hot.
meant for mortals to run.
We made adventures so hot that God can't run them. Hold on.
If God is all powerful, do you think he could make an adventure that he couldn't run?
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for being here for Warlocks and Waffles. This has been our show. Um Thank you all so much for being here. We appreciate it. We will be back on Monday to start your week with some nonsense. What that nonsense is, we don't know. We'll figure it out though. We are professionals and we have an outline. That outline is blank, but we have one. Thank you so much for being here. Let's see here. Calls to action for this weekend. Watch Lord of the Rings. Do it. You know you want to. If you've seen it 1,000 times, you know you're looking to watch it one more time. If you haven't seen it, that is a crime. Guilty, go straight to jail, or watch Lord of the Rings. Second one, if you think about how long it's been since you've had a pie. Go get one.
Just think about it. Oh,
If
okay.
if it was yesterday, it's still been a day. Like, you haven't had pie in a day. There are some people that would never go a day without eating a pie. I don't know who those people are, and they probably should be stopped. But like,
Third call to
go
action
get
is
pie.
stop somebody eating too much pie.
Third call to action: if you know somebody who
If you
eats
know
pie every day, talk to their loved ones. Organize an intervention, because that seems unhealthy.
Make sure they're okay.
The pie can be so many things, though. There's pizza pie, chicken pot pie, a whole variety of like fruit and dessert pies. Like there's 1,000 things out there. Find something that is like considered a pie and have one. Have a great weekend, everybody. We will be back on Monday. Remember to embrace the nonsense, and until then, we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.